Friends and family, welcome back. It's Vlad, DeFi Elite, and today we are making a little bit of the history because this is the first episode on this channel that is not really about crypto. Well, relax. I'm not became a boomer overnight, and no, I'm not selling all of my crypto to buy dividend stocks while drinking green tea in silence. I still love crypto. Love it for very much, but over the last year, I started building something else in parallel. I began learning the stock market, slowly adding to my portfolio every single month and treating it as a serious long-term investment game. So today I want to show you that journey. Right now, I'm actually roughly sitting on around 4K of unrealized profit. In total, I have 24K in my Interactive Brokers account. This is my full stock portfolio. And honestly, guys, this process has been way more interesting than I expected. It teaches you practice, structure, diversification, and one thing crypto people usually hate hearing about: discipline. So this is very important. Today, guys, I want to break down three things. First, the current crypto market setup as usual. Second, why I decided to move part of my capital into the stock market. And third, how exactly I'm building the portfolio, what sectors I'm targeting, what tools I'm using, and how I think you could start too. So let's start from the analytics. As usual, from the Bitcoin market. Let's go. As always, I think, as it was in last weekly digest, we are still sitting in the fair value region. We are not in the expensive zone, and we are definitely not in the overheated zone. And I actually waiting for cheap zone. That's what's happened. And last cycle, we had the chance to buy below the 200-week moving average. Even a couple times we had this chance, and that's what I'm looking for this year. So this is where things started to get really interesting. Overall, I'm seeing that we are similar to 2022. So even this pattern and this pattern are very similar to what happened those time here and actually here. So basically, after the high peaked, the market started slowly losing momentum, and my best case is still the same. One more proper flush, one final drop, then a period of consolidation, and after that the market became much more attractive for buying of our exit liquidity. Yeah, guys, but basically take a look on the chart with your eyes. So what do you think gonna happen? We will grow up very fast? Like you may have this as a dream, but basically that's usually how it looks like. That's a cup. Previous cycle, then the cycle before, again, that's a cup. So it doesn't work. And this time it could happen, of course. Usually, you should understand that everything is possible, but something is really possible, and something is likely possible, and something is very low percentage of probability. So rising again to 126K in next couple months has very low percentage of probability. That's what you need to understand. So that's the point. And what it actually means for you. You shouldn't do nothing. No, I think buying already makes sense through the DCA strategy, dollar cost average, which I talked about in my previous video. Please check it. It's actually very interesting. I explaining how I'm gonna turn my 200K portfolio into $1 million and why I feel that this is actually possible in the next 2-3 years. So, in fact, I already prepared, as I said, around $200,000, and I want to deploy it into BTC over the time. So that's my idea. That's how I'm gonna do it. And right now is already good zone to start buying. Nothing actually really changed in the sentiment. So we're still sitting here on the extreme fear. We are slowly growing to fear, but basically again it looks similar to previous cycle in 2022, and our extreme fear can absolutely continue for longer than people expect. Guys, markets love pain, and markets especially love dragging it out. That's the point. So what about the ETFs? ETFs inflows improved a little compared to the last weekly digest. We did get some inflows back, as we can see here. But let's not pretend that the one decent line on a chart suddenly means that the war is over and everybody is rich again. At the same time, the stock market has started correcting a bit, as we can see from our total market cap. And it was $142 trillion, right now is 137. So if this correction continues, it will affect BTC, it will affect crypto, it will likely create more outflows, more pressure, and probably that final leg down I've been waiting for. If you zoom out even further, global markets are clearly reaching to broader macro stress. Middle East tension, everyone talks about the oil, and right now it looks like it's usual cocktail of fear that makes investors remember they are in fact mortal. So that seems like a correction. We could check even S&P 500, looks like it's slowly land. Then we could check gold, slowly landing too. Basically, I think if this correction extends, I think Bitcoin finally finds its real bottom. One thing I do like about the crypto right now is actually Ethereum. And this is the chart showing us the percentage of supply held by the public companies. So as you can see, Solana sits flat, even someone selling it. BTC flat the same, but Ethereum growing rapidly and is actually starting to look generally interesting again, especially for the companies and for the institutionals. So this time I may split my capital, I think, more aggressively between Bitcoin and Ethereum than I did it before. Anyway, that's my current market view. I still sitting in stables. I'm waiting for the final leg down on BTC and on the whole market to start accumulating, because my target price per BTC is around 50k. And guys, important to say that all of these researches and charts and breakdowns are available inside of my platform called deficapital.tech. Here are the crypto analytics reports and my portfolio reports, then reports on the stock investments. So everything you able to find here. Now let's move to the more interesting part. Why I did even start investing in the stock market. Because guys, once you zoom out, you realize how insanely small crypto still is. Well, let's compare. So, the global real estate is worth around $400 trillion. This is the whole real estate in the world. Then commodities is around $140 trillion. Even gold is $30 trillion market cap, 10 times bigger than crypto. Then the stock market, $137 trillion, and crypto still $2.4 trillion on this moment, was 3.4. So this means our entire industry, loud as it is, dramatic as it is, and fully convinced that it is a center of the universe, is still tiny compared to the rest of the global capital and the global markets. Tiny. That matters, because the stock market gives you actually something crypto still barely has: real diversification. You can invest in semiconductors, in AI, in batteries, in defense, in aerospace, in healthcare, in manufacturing, in gaming, in energy, in robotics, a lot of directions. You could literally buy the whole sector via the ETFs, the whole direction. Whatever you generally believe will shape the next decade. In crypto, we mostly rotate between the narratives. That's a very young market. A stock market, around 200 years. A crypto market, we have like how much? 16 years? Something like this? 17? Really very tiny. Very good grown, very good technology, but in terms of investing, not a speculation, in terms of investing, we are still very, very young. In stocks, you can actually invest in physical and industrial backbone of the future. And that is what attracted myself. So, for example, I love gaming. I may buy gaming stocks. I believe in AI, but not just in software. I believe in the hardware layer, the electricity layer, the chip equipment layer, the supply chain layer. Then, I believe also in defense, I believe in batteries, and all of them are buying. So why I believe in defense, for example, because we have a lot of conflicts around the world. Then batteries, everything needs a battery. Basically, every tool needs a battery. Then I believe in electric vehicles. Do you know about the BYD, Build Your Dream, or Lil After? Very good Chinese factories, and they're actually disrupting the market. Again, this is what you unable to buy in crypto. And I believe that all of those sectors will continue to grow dramatically over the next several years. So that's exactly how my portfolio structure is look like. Like my core teams, you already know. So my goal is to invest in the core infrastructure around these directions. For example, in semiconductors, I'm not just looking in NVIDIA or TSMC. What interests me even more than TSMC and NVIDIA are the picks and shovels of the industry. And the great example here is ASML. That's the company based in Europe, in Holland, and they make the machines that companies like TSMC need in order to manufacture advanced chip. That's the kind of position I like. Not just obvious winner, the company selling the tools without which the winners cannot exist. And at the same time, I do not want to rely only on a single stock. That's where ETFs are coming to play. What means ETF is exchange tradable fund. Basically, that's the fund which shares are traded on the exchanges, and this fund collected stocks and equities on specific direction, and behind of this fund there is professionals who are managing all of those weights around. So if I want exposure to a direction, but I'm not fully confident which exact company will dominate in semiconductors, for example, I can buy an ETF that holds a basket of companies in that sector. Again, could be defense, AI, energy, whatever. So basically, instead of pretending that I'm a prop head, I let the fund give me diversified exposure while the professionals continue rebalance the weights inside it. That's incredibly useful. Guys, honestly, crypto still has almost nothing on that level in truly mature format. Now, quick plug, because this is actually relevant. On my platform, you could find all of these reports under the stock investments in the menu, and you could go through. So here I explaining fully how I choose the sectors, how I pick an assets, how I structure entries, how I think about the risks, what my current portfolio looks like, and what I'm watching next. So if you want to see the full framework, instead of just hearing me talk fast on camera, it's there on my platform, deficapital.tech. Let's go and check where I'm actually buying all of those stocks. So the platform is called Interactive Brokers. That's for stock investments, for equities, for commodities, for ETFs. You could find everything here. For me, guys, it has the best combination of fees, market success, and overall credibility. So you could buy everything around the world, from the Hong Kong stock exchanges, US stock exchanges, European, and yeah, I recommending it. No referrals, because they didn't paying me. They didn't even know that I exist. What you first will understood if you start using the interface look like it was designed by a depressed alien in 2007, but it works. It basically looks like a government website, but this is amazing because if something looks like a government website and works for the last 5 years, that's very good. It's like Bitcoin wallet. So, and once you get over the emotional shock, you realize that this tool has basically everything you need. Spots, options, futures, limit orders, market orders, stop orders. The whole functionality is not that different from a crypto exchange. The asset class is different, but the logic is very familiar. So the reasonable question is how actually you are able to open an account there. That's most useful and most interesting part. You basically will need to pass the KYC. So you will need to have some kind of residence permit or ID of US, European Union or United Arab Emirates, or check your country. It could be in the list. If it's not in the list, you need to have a residence permit of country which are in the list, or you need to find your broker in your country, actually allowing you to buy stocks and equities. It could be eToro, it could be something different than Interactive Brokers, but I basically recommend you Interactive Brokers. Why? Because of fees and because of the credibility. So then you may need to have a proof of funds. What it is? So it's a document which show that you have kind of reasonable explanation where your money comes from. So that can be a job contract, it could be freelance income, it could be contractor contract, something that show you being earning legitimately. So this is actually important. Then you will also typically need a bank account to fund and to withdraw from the Interactive Brokers or any other brokers, usually something like a European or Arab Emirates or US bank account with IBAN. Again, depending on your setup and your jurisdiction. So this is the point. Of course, you will need to pass the KYC. Again, guys, if you don't know how to find all of those documents, or if you feel that it is something, you know, behind you, please think more. And I think you may find the conclusion or a solution or an idea what you need to do and how you could find all of those documents. I do believe that every one of you has something to prove, and you could provide all of those docs. This is actually very simple. Think about it more, please. So let's talk a bit more about bank account, because this is where crypto becomes very useful. There are services I'm using for this, and I could share with you. So this is Virex. This is actually very good service which allow you to convert crypto like USDC or USDT and send the money through the IBAN. Same due, so you could try one or another one, and you could actually fund broker accounts that way. And this is actually one of my favorite part of this whole process. Crypto and traditional finance are slowly starting to connect in ways that are generally useful. And guys, over the time, that will only get easier and easier. So Interactive Brokers soon will allow you to deposit USDC. Then let's talk how I think someone should start this journey. So very simple. First of all, sit down and think. Think about the future. Not next month, not next week, next 10 years. What industries do you generally believe will grow? Could be robotics, AI infrastructure, energy, defense, semiconductors, space, battery supply chains. Pick them, actually. Pick what you understand and what you like and what you believe. Then, second, you need to choose an assets or an ETFs. So think one layer deeper. Don't only ask yourself, like, who sell the final product? Ask who supply the machines, who supply the materials, who supply the energy, the transport, the metals, the software, the batteries, the chips. Because guys, sometimes the best investment is not the famous company everyone is tweeting about. Sometimes it's a company quietly selling the shovels in a gold rush. Then third, build your plan for the DCA, dollar cost average. Actually decide whether you want a single name or an ETF. If a sector is concentrated and you understand it very well, maybe the direct company bet makes more sense, like could be again Nvidia, TSMC. I have part of them. But if the space is broad, uncertain, or still forming, ETF are often a smarter choice. Then you need to build a real buying plan. So please build a plan for dollar cost average. Actually, how much money you will invest every month. Then what percentage goes in each sector. Will you buy on schedule, or you have any other ideas how you could buy from savings? Will you add more during the correction? This is your system and you need to buy it. You don't need to rely on anyone else. You need to rely on your understanding. Without the system, you are not investing. You're just, pressing the buttons and hoping that the universe respects your vibes. And in final, what I want to say, please use AI. Use AI properly. This is actually massively underrated in a stock investments. Why? Because there is a lot of information about the stock market and equity commodities, and AI already fitted with all this information. So at least create a simple markdown files for yourself, write down your theses, why you buying something, what are the risks, what would invalidate the idea, what changed from month to month, and please use AI to understand your next action, to review your logic, compare it to actually market developments and pressure. Test your own thinking with AI. This gives you a much stronger decision-making process over the time. So in the end, guys, this is our weekly digest about the stocks. And yes, right now I'm investing not only in crypto and also in stocks, and I'm building this portfolio for the long term. I'm not trying to trade every move. I'm not trying to look smart for 1 week or 4 months. I'm investing. For me, this is actually a long term. I don't have a sell button. It doesn't exist right now for me. I'm buying with a multi-year horizon, and I don't plan to sell what I'm accumulating over the next 5 years, unless something fundamentally breaks. So that's the mindset. Anyway, that's it for today. Welcome to the new chapter, and crypto is still home, but now we are expanding empire a little to the stock market. See you in the next weekly digest.